Well, hello there folks, and welcome back to part 2 of we've got an exciting, mind-blowing, action-packed part 2 video of varnishing. Anyway, it could be handy tips for some of you out there, so enjoy the video. All right, thank you. Enjoy.
And I cry tears of burgundy. Sirens sing so perfectly, but poison like mercury. Alive with a light perjury, and I cry tears of burgundy.
Righty then folks, this is part 2 of the varnishing video for those of you that want to use various varnishes for your van build. Where was we yesterday? We got up to doing the edges yesterday. And now I'm filling the panels in. So I've got one coat on already, as you can see. When you put this stuff on, see, this was all severely damaged with UV damage. So this has had one coat on, and I'm rolling and tipping. And as you can see in the light, you can see where it's so dry, it sucks in the chemicals. And this is natural. So the first coat is pretty much just to seal everything off. And then we let that dry to a point where it's kind of touch dry, and then so we've got to do this panel, this and this, and then also I have some door panels to do as well, and the center of this table. So all this is going to need another coat as well. Beautiful English weather, it is absolutely hacking down. So now I'm going to show you rolling and tipping for varnishing. Right then, so bear with me. Let me try and angle the camera so you can see what I'm doing. So I can give you an example of how bad. See, this is how bad they were. You can see the UV damage. Look, it looks old and tacky. And then, obviously, after it's varnished, they look brand new again, like you see. Right then, back with you soon. Righty then folks, I do hope you can see well enough from that angle. Right, so I'm just going to do a little demonstration of how this method's done. This should hopefully, I think we'll get it in this second coat. Right, so grab your little brush first of all, and you fill your edges in first. So what we do, edges first, very lightly. So that sits on top of what is touch dry. Yeah. And it will transform. It will transform this panel dramatically. Just very quickly do this, and then just to demonstrate, you know, the method of how it's done. And then what I will do, I'll end the video and then I'll bring you back when all of it's done, because I'm sure it'll be about as interesting as watching paint dry if I was to film the whole thing. Right, so as you can see, I've got an edge area there done. I've already saturated my roller, and ready at hand I have another brush ready, a bigger brush. So how this works is like this, very lightly, because remember the stuff underneath isn't completely dry, so I don't want to be taking that off. So you've got loads of bubbles now, don't worry about that, that's part of it. Right, we'll put a bit more on. Okay, and this method you can do with paints, lacquers, varnishes, as you're witnessing now, and it's called roll and tip. Roll and tip. Yeah, so right, so what you do there, and then with your brush very lightly, just running it very gently down with the grain. To get the desired effect. And you need the room at the correct temperature, and then what that helps, it helps it dry, but also keeps the varnish at a consistency where it flows, and then it merges into each other and you don't get brush strokes. Yeah, lovely. So this is how this looks now. This is how this looks now on that little section I've done. Right, I've got to get on with this quickly now and I'll get back to you. Okay. Right then folks, that's the second coat done. Just watch and see how it dries, see if we have to do another one, see how it flows. And then also, all there's been done as well. All that panel's been done. All that big panel there's been done. And also, these little door panels here. And also the table. And also them panels there. So we'll see how these dry and see how it flows. And then once all that's done, once I've cleaned everything up, then I'm going to do this big table here. Looking forward to doing that actually, because it is in a bit of a state. But yeah, here we go. Look, now it's starting to look like a brand new galley. And this yacht paint, this yacht varnish, it's like 20-30 quid a tin. It's not too bad. It's not as good as the industrial brands, but for an El Cheapo, it's not too bad. Not too bad. And this method of the roll and tip, oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. This method of the roll and tip, this method, it helps you places where you would usually want to spray. And obviously with spraying, there's a lot of making tents and covering everything up and a lot of preparation, which is very time consuming. So this way you don't have to go that far. You can get the same, close to the same effect of spraying, but by using a roller and a brush. All right, I hope that's helpful to some of you. And I'll get back to you when everything else is done and maybe the doors are on and see how we get on. Okay. Here we go folks, as promised. Once the doors are all back on, we are finished. It's so dry and so damaged with UV and neglected. It took 4 coats. 4 coats it took in the end. But we now have a new galley. So as you can see, that's all looking nice now. And then this is where we am on the big table. So I've got my first coat on the edges. As you can see, it's sucking in the chemical, which is natural because it's the first coat. I'm just getting the room up to temperature, so it's got a little bit to go yet. And then I'll put the second coat on, and then I'll be ready for doing the main panel in the middle tomorrow. But yeah, look at this, we're turning this around, it's starting to look brand new again. Okay then folks. How very picturesque, lovely. Very lovely day here. Right then folks, good morning. I hope you're all doing well in YouTube land. Right, so today, the tabletop. So, edges are all done, as you can see. Righty then. Do hope you can see well enough from that angle that you're on. Right, so, first of all, as we know, edges first. this first coat doesn't have to be very thick. All this coat's going to do is like sealing the surface, ready for the next coats that go over the top. I've cleaned the top with white spirit. Give it plenty of time to dry off. Right, we are good to go. Good to go. So now putting the varnish onto the roller. And then we go for it. Simple as that. Some nice light coming in through the windows. Let's see what's going on. Make this whole table look brand new again. Once this is done, I'll put the heating on and start getting the room up to temperature to help the drying process. And that, my lovelies, is that. That's it, just a case of leaving it now. On a bigger, more better paid contract, it is advisable to sand with 320 in between each coat. But for what we're doing on this one, as it's a satin as well, and time is an issue, this will be good enough. This will suffice. Here you go, folks. That is now the first coat on, ready for the second once it's all dried. And if you can remember how it was before, this will be like a brand new table by the time we're finished. Okay, I'll get back to you. Right then, folks, there you go. Just 3 coats of the satin varnish applied to the table with a roller and a brush. Job done. Brand new again. Doesn't come out too bad. As I say, for the time frame I'm working within and for the amount I'm getting paid, if it was for me, I would block sand 320 and then do a very thin coat on the top just to get a flatter finish. But that's just my, what I would do. But that's all right. That's come out lovely. And that, my friends, is rolling and tipping the new galley. Now the big cleanup begins. The big cleanup. As I say, it's like a building site. All right, okay, all enjoy yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye bye.